In the small, picturesque town of Millwood, nestled in a valley surrounded by rolling hills and lush, vibrant greenery, there stood an ancient, dilapidated mansion. Blanketed in a perpetual cloak of mist that clung to its withered stone facade, the mansion seemed to loom over the town like a brooding sentinel of forgotten secrets. It was known to the townspeople as Dalcrest Manor, a place that had earned a fearsome reputation, whispered about in hushed tones as the source of numerous local legends and superstitions. According to the stories passed down through generations, the mansion was once home to the enigmatic Beauregard family, a lineage shrouded in mystery and tragedy. The family had mysteriously vanished without a trace, leaving behind a festering legacy of tales that spoke of dark rituals, unspeakable atrocities, and an ever-lingering presence that seemed to haunt the crumbling estate to this very day. It was amongst the overgrown gardens and forgotten pathways of Dalcrest Manor that a young woman named Emily found herself one fateful afternoon. She was a bright and adventurous soul, an artist who had come to Millwood seeking inspiration for her next collection of paintings. Unbeknownst to her, the mansion would become the stage for a nightmare that would test the limits of her courage and sanity. As Emily wandered through the neglected grounds of Dalcrest Manor, her heart leapt with excitement at the prospect of capturing its eerie, overgrown beauty on canvas. She marveled at the wild, untamed daffodils that had flourished amidst the tangle of creeping vines and thorny shrubbery, their golden blossoms providing a stark contrast to the shadowy, desolate landscape that surrounded them. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, ominous shadows across the grounds, Emily felt a shiver of unease ripple down her spine, but she dismissed it as mere fanciful imaginings. Little did she know that the daffodils, with their delicate golden hues and sweet, innocent scent, held within them an ancient, malevolent power that was about to be unleashed. That very night, as Emily lay in her bed in the rented cottage she had taken up residence in, an unnerving dream took hold of her. In the dream, she found herself standing amidst a sea of daffodils, their petals fluttering in a ghostly breeze that seemed to carry with it the distant whispers of the Beauregard family's dark past. The daffodils twisted and turned, their once brilliant hues darkening to a sickly, ominous shade. As Emily waded through the sinister, undulating sea of flowers, a haunting, otherworldly voice seemed to seep into her very soul, filling her with an unshakable sense of fear and dread. Awake in the darkness within, the voice murmured, its chilling melody carrying an insidious allure that seemed to beckon her towards an unseen, malevolent force. In a surge of paralyzing terror, Emily awoke, her heart pounding in her chest, the echo of the voice still lingering in her ears. She attempted to shake off the haunting sense of foreboding that gnawed at her insides, but the unnerving dream seemed to cling to her like a shadow, refusing to be dismissed. The following morning, Emily found herself drawn back to Dalcrest Manor, the memory of the daffodils and the haunting dream continuing to play on her mind. As she ventured back into the gardens, she was taken aback by the sight that greeted her. The once flourishing daffodils were now no more than twisted, withered stalks, their brilliant petals turned a sickly, unnatural shade. The air was thick with an oppressive stillness, and a tangible sense of unease seemed to hang over the mansion's gardens. Emily's heart raced with a foreboding sense of dread, and as she knelt amidst the twisted, decaying daffodils, she found herself inexplicably filled with an unyielding fear that seemed to grip her like a vice. In the days that followed, the sense of foreboding that had settled over Emily seemed to grow with every passing moment. The daffodils continued to wither and decay, their once beautiful blooms taking on an increasingly sinister, malevolent aspect. Emily hesitated to share her fears with anyone, afraid that they would dismiss her claims as mere figments of her imagination. That night, as she sat in her studio, the memory of the twisted, decaying daffodils hovered at the edge of her thoughts, a haunting reminder of the unnerving presence that had taken root in her mind. She attempted to lose herself in her art, the rhythmic strokes of her paintbrush against the canvas providing a brief respite from the unsettling fears that plagued her. But as the hours passed, an unexplainable sense of unease washed over her. The shadows seemed to grow longer and more oppressive, and the echo of the haunting, otherworldly voice from her dream lingered in the air, a chilling reminder of the darkness that seemed to seep into her very being. And then, with a bone-chilling creak, Emily's breath caught in her throat as the door to her studio swung open, revealing the figure of a woman standing in the darkness. The woman's eyes gleamed with a malevolent light, and her movements seemed to blur and twist, as if she were not truly of this world. Emily's heart raced with unyielding terror as she realized that the figure was none other than Victoria Beauregard, a member of the fabled family that had once called Dalcrest Manor home. The woman's spectral presence seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, and her hollow, empty eyes bore into Emily with a chilling intensity. In a surge of paralyzing fear, Emily stumbled back, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The apparition beckoned to her with an insidious allure, its movements filled with a grotesque, otherworldly grace. Its chilling presence seemed to sear her very soul, and as she looked into its vacant eyes, she felt a relentless force that defied the very fabric of reality. The figure loomed closer, its haunting, ethereal presence enveloping Emily with a suffocating grip. She stumbled back, her eyes wide with fear, as the figure closed in with an insatiable yearning that seemed to consume her very essence. The air was thick with an oppressive stillness, and as the spectral figure reached out with gnarled, claw-like fingers, Emily's world was consumed by a darkness that defied understanding. In the days that followed, the spectral presence of Victoria Beauregard haunted Emily's every waking moment. Her once peaceful existence had been shattered by the darkness that had taken root within the ancient walls of Dalcrest Manor. The twisted, withering daffodils continued to serve as an ominous warning of the malevolent force that had been awakened, and Emily knew that the presence of the Beauregard family was no mere spirit. It was an unyielding, malevolent force that defied the very fabric of reality. As the days turned into long, despondent nights, Emily found herself slipping deeper into a maddening spiral of fear and uncertainty. The spectral figure of Victoria Beauregard seemed to cast a suffocating shadow over her, its haunting, ethereal presence enveloping her with an unyielding grip. It was then that Emily chanced upon an old, decaying book that lay hidden amidst the dust and shadows of Dalcrest Manor's library. The book was filled with tales of dark rituals and malevolent forces that had plagued the Beauregard family for generations. As she pored over the ancient, forbidden knowledge, a chilling sense of realization washed over her. The daffodils that had once flourished amidst the gardens of Dalcrest Manor were no ordinary flowers. They were the source of an ancient, unyielding force that had been awakened by the twisted rituals carried out by the Beauregard family. In a surge of desperate determination, Emily vowed to uncover the truth behind the daffodils and put an end to the malevolent force that had taken root within the estate. Armed with a newfound resolve, she ventured deeper into the neglected gardens, the sinister presence of the decaying flowers a palpable reminder of the lingering, unyielding darkness. As she neared the heart of the gardens, a haunting, otherworldly cry echoed through the still, lifeless air. The daffodils loomed before her, their once vibrant, golden blooms now twisted and decaying, their haunting, otherworldly presence suffocating and heavy. With a surge of raw, unadulterated terror, Emily stumbled through the oppressive stillness, the air thick with an unyielding sense of dread. The haunting, otherworldly cry seemed to sear her very soul, and she knew that there was no escaping the malevolent force that had become a relentless, suffocating presence within her reality. And then, with a bone-chilling moan, a figure materialized before her, its spectral presence an unsettling reminder of the darkness that had seeped into her very being. It was the ghastly form of Victoria Beauregard, her eyes gleaming with a malevolent light, and her movements cloaked in an unnatural, grotesque grace. The figure loomed closer, its presence an unyielding reminder of the nightmares that had plagued Emily for so long. The air was thick with an oppressive, suffocating force, and Emily knew that there was no escape from the horror that awaited her. In the end, the unfathomable terror that had taken root within the ancient halls of Dalcrest Manor proved to be an inescapable force that defied the very fabric of reality. The decaying daffodils, once vibrant symbols of beauty and life, became twisted emblems of darkness and despair, serving as a chilling reminder of the malevolent forces that lurked within the estate. As the years passed, the spectral figure of Victoria Beauregard became little more than a twisted, haunting ghost story, a grim testament to the unyielding darkness that had taken hold of the mansion and the woman who dared to seek the truth. The legendary tales of the daffodils and the spectral figure continued to linger in the shadows of the town, shrouded by the mist that perpetually clung to the old, crumbling estate. The legend of Emily's tragic fate served as a chilling reminder of the dangers of delving into the ancient, forbidden forces that lay beyond the veil of mortal understanding.